Good morning. You're watching the F&O Show on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Good morning. I'm Agam Vakil, and here are the top headlines this hour. It's a positive start for benchmark indices as VIX cools off and open interest in Hexa and Adani Enterprises surges after traders take fresh positions in their respective futures. Reliance is among the top Nifty gainer after the company commissioned the world's largest refinery off-gas cracker at Jamnagar. And the police imposes Section 144 in parts of Thane districts to avoid any flare-up between Dalits and the Marathas.
All right, let's take a look as to what's happening with the markets. It's been a positive start after a volatile session that was witnessed in the last two sessions. So today we had a good opening. In fact, as we speak, markets are at day's high. Nifty's touched the level of 10,500. So that's a positive news. Remember, a closing above the 10,500 mark will be viewed as a positive sign going ahead for Nifty. The futures premium is at about 35 points. Remember, yesterday the futures premium fell from 65 to 30, so a bit of uptick has been seen in terms of premium, which is now about 37 points. 10,536 is where the Nifty futures are currently trading. Let's also look at Bank Nifty. What's that doing? Yesterday it breached the 50-day moving average, but right now it's trading firmly above the mark of 25,400, so trading comfortably above the 20 as well as the 50-day moving average. The futures premium for Bank Nifty currently stands at about 46. What's the range that one can expect for Nifty in the near term? The options band has been suggesting a range of 10,350 to about 10,550 on the upside. Remember, this is just a range for the next one or two sessions, so watch out as Nifty has already crossed the 10,500 mark. And in terms of option strikes till now, we've seen good amount of addition for the 10,400 strike. Remember, yesterday also the strike was pretty active, and even the 10,500 strike, which saw some unwinding yesterday, has added almost 2 lakh shares so far in today's session. On the call side, 10,500 is the strike, which is pretty active. So that's the fight where the bulls and bears will have to see the 10,500 mark. That strike has seen addition of almost 1.5 lakh shares. Well, in terms of what the institutions have been doing, Agam, the FIs in the last 3 sessions, in fact, since the time the January series have started, they've been hedging themselves on the option side. We've seen a lot of put buying from FIs. In fact, in the last 3 sessions, almost 60 to 70,000 contracts have been added there.
Right, Navneet. You know, in terms of stock futures again, once again, we have a relatively stock-specific market. So we have the likes of Hexa, which is right at the top in terms of gains in open interest, where the open interest has moved up as much as 13%. We're seeing longs there and Adani Enterprises as well. So we have seen a substantial amount of fresh positions being taken on Adani Enterprises as well as Jubilant Foodworks. So we have seen fresh longs in all of these counters, including Mindtree as well. MRPL, however, looking at some amount of unwinding. Let's take a look at stocks which are looking at a decline in open interest. So Reliance Communications, Reliance Power, all these stocks have seen a substantial surge recently and are looking at longs unwinding in today's job trades, followed by IFCI, Infibeam, looking at short covering, and Page Industries, among many others. Of course, once again, we'll be watching out for IT companies as we close in on the big earnings next week.
That's right. So the ID stocks will be in focus, and some respite seen for the markets as India volatility index has also cooled off after gaining in the last 3 sessions. All right, then, before we get our guest in the show, here's a reminder for you all. If you have any queries in the futures and options market, you can call us now on 022-4540-4141. You can also write to us on our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, with AskBQ hashtag. Well, it's time to welcome our F&O experts for the day. Rahul Shah of Motilal Securities will be joining us in a while, and also Bhavin Mehta of Dolat Capital joins us on the show now. Hi, Bhavin. Good morning, and thanks a lot for joining us today on Bloomberg Quint. Wishing you a very happy New Year.
Wish you the same, and wishing all the viewers of your channel a very happy and prosperous New Year.
Thank you so much, Bhavin, for your wishes. What's the call on Nifty and Bank Nifty? Some respite after VIX cooled off today, and we've seen a good opening. Nifty sustained the opening levels. In fact, currently it's also crossed the 10,500 mark. Where would you bet your money, on the upside or on the downside?
Continue to remain positive on markets, especially given the fact that now we are looking at 10,000 put strike for the current series, witnessing good amount of OI built up. So new base at 10,300 getting formed. Previously, what we were observing was the same happening around 10,000 mark. So the momentum continues to remain strong for the markets. At the same time, we are looking at base formation at 10,300 now. At the same time, resistance, I mean the major OI concentration on the higher strike observed around 11,000 levels now. So definitely a good move can be in the offing for the markets, especially given the fact that last few days has been very ranged action for the markets. So expecting a strong up move to continue over next couple of months, in fact.
Bhavin, based on your expectations on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, how are you playing this particular expiry in general when it comes to January, considering we are going to look at the upcoming union budget as well as several other events like the earnings? What is your extended view when it comes to the benchmarks with respect to volatility as we move into the month?
Okay, volatility, if we look at the India VIX or even the IVs for most of the puts or on the options side, it continues to remain pretty low. In fact, I believe that globally, the CBOE VIX also continues to remain on the lower range of the entire move. So I think that positivity is likely to be there. As far as budget is concerned, I think till the time there are no negatives in the budget, the up move should not be halted. There can be some amount of volatility during this period, and that is definitely expected. However, till the time Nifty holds on to 10,300, I believe that momentum on the positive side should continue. As far as Bank Nifty is concerned, it continues to remain an extremely ranged kind of a trade. No major OI built up on Bank Nifty over last two series. So definitely that's a concern that because it has a good amount of weightage amongst Nifty 50 names, Bank Nifty should start performing. However, as of now, believe it is more likely to be a ranged trade for Bank Nifty. So participation should come from other sectoral indices like metal or FMCG that should ideally drive indices to a higher level. And looking at today's trade, metal continues to remain in focus, and in fact we are very positive on the same sector.
Well, you also had a report coming from Goldman Sachs where they've given their views on the steel sector, and they're pretty bullish on stocks like JSW Steel. But let's bring in Rahul Shah, Vice President, Equity Advisory Group at Motilal Oswal Securities. Hi, Rahul. Good morning, and thanks a lot for joining us today. What's the call on Nifty, as the opening today has been pretty much stable compared to the last 2 to 3 trading sessions? How would you place your bets today?
I think Nifty obviously has been inching up higher and upwards, and we've seen that it has been consolidating between 10,400 to 10,550. So maybe any up move, but the interestingly it is that it's not breaking also 10,400 convincingly. We have been seeing swings in the markets. So what we believe is, I think the sectoral performance, if you look at it, has been very good, rather than focused on only 1 or 2 sectors earlier, which used to drive Nifty, which was earlier it was only say maybe 2 sectors like say Bankex and metals. Now if you look at it, it's been all around IT, pharma, consumer, all around we've seen participation in Nifty. So it looks like that Nifty should cross 10,600 and maybe soon. That's what we are believing.
Okay, so with that, let's shift focus to the options corner, and this is where we get you exclusive option strategies when it comes to the benchmarks and perhaps often stocks as well. So Bhavin, I'll come back to you. How are you playing the options with respect to the view that you have on the benchmark indices?
Okay, so since we are looking at good amount of built up at lower strike, I think it is pretty safe to write or sell Nifty 10,300 puts, which is currently trading somewhere, quoting somewhere in the range of 65 to 67. Stop loss should be placed around level of 85. And I think this is a high risk trade, as it's a plain vanilla writing on the put side. So definitely risk will be involved, and hence the stop loss of 85 is necessary. So believe till the time Nifty stays afloat above 10,300, up move should continue on the indices, and hence recommending the same strategy on the option side.
All right, so Bhavin has a strategy. He's suggesting to ride the 10,300 put strike, which essentially means that, according to him, the support in the January series for Nifty will be at about the levels of 10,300. And sorry for that graphic plate, it said buy. It's actually selling the 10,300 put strike. Rahul, I'll come to you. What option strategies do you have for us today?
In options, I think Nifty, as I said, that my view on the Nifty is very positive. So I think before the show started, we had sent a strategy in that 10,500 call option to go long on it, which was quoting around 107 and 8. So with a stop loss of 90 and one target of 140. That's the call what we are recommending on Nifty.
All right, then that's the options play on the benchmark indices. So let's take some active stock futures. And the first one, of course, on the list will be Hexa Technologies. We have been discussing Hexa Technologies over the past couple of months or so because it has shown a lot of strength. It has moved up quite considerably, and even today it's on an up move. So the underlying is up to around 2.2% for now. Currently trading, that's the January futures, are currently trading at a little over 347 rupees a share, with an increase of 13% in open interest. Okay, so I think I'm going to come back to Bhavin on your view on Hexa Technologies. Bhavin, considering the fact that we've seen such an up move, would you be a little circumspect about taking a position, a long position in Hexa? What would you advise your clients to do?
I would be positive on stock of majority of mid-cap IT names. In fact, even in yesterday's trade, when Nifty was not moving anywhere, we had seen good amount of built-up in most of the mid-cap IT names. As far as Hexaware is concerned, it continues to trade with discount in the current series. So that is a bit of a concern as far as derivatives data is concerned. But I think since the majority of mid-cap IT continues to trend higher, the view continues to remain positive on Hexaware as well. On the downside, stock has a very good support in the range of 335 to 340. Any break above now level of 355 should ideally be very positive for the stock. So if long position has to be taken, it should be on close above 355 levels, or probably on a retracement closer to 335 to 340 range. Stop loss for all the long trades should be kept in the around level of 328.
Okay, that's the view on Hexaware. According to Bhavin, he's suggesting take a position not at current levels, but wait for it to cross those crucial levels which he just highlighted for you. But the other top stock in today's trade, and the top F&O gainer rather, is Fortis Healthcare. That stock's seen a good move of about 8 to 9% in today's trade. If you could just pull up Fortis Healthcare, the futures have seen OI build up of almost 8%, and it is trading with a premium of over 1 rupee. 8% is the gain that we've seen for the underlying. Rahul, I'll come to you. Fortis Healthcare, I remember for the longest time this counter was consolidating in that range of 150, 155. Do you see any sort of fresh breakout now on the charts? And at current levels, would you advise to take any sort of position on the long side?
Sure. I think we've seen Fortis consolidating, as you rightly said, from 135, 140 on a lower levels. On a higher side, 165 used to be a resistance and used to go back to the 150 odd levels again. But after a long time, it has broken that 165 levels, and with a huge volume today, if you look at it, and an open interest gaining also. So I feel that this stock now is ready for going for 180 or so at odd levels, where the next resistance for the stock is at.
Okay, so that's your view on Fortis Healthcare. Let's move on and address some of the queries that our viewers have. And the first one is a caller, and it is J.R. Chaudhary. Hi, Mr. Chaudhary, if you can hear me, thanks for calling us. Tell us, what would you like to know from our experts?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, my query about SBI and Granules future for January series.
Okay. So you're saying that you have queries on SBI. Mr. Chaudhary, can you tell us about what rate have you entered SBI right now?
304.5 yesterday.
Okay, so his entry point in SBI is at 304.5 yesterday. Rahul, if I can come to you on this one, what is your view on SBI and what can Mr. Chaudhary do from these levels?
I think we've seen some sell-off in banking sectors in last couple of days. But typically, if you observe a State Bank of India has a support at level 302, and that's the major support for the stock. And most of the time, it has bounced back again in recent terms from 302. So I would advise him to hold on to State Bank of India. I think stock again can go to 325 or so odd levels.
All right, so there you have it. You can keep your stop loss at 325 levels, but hold on to your position right now. And your second query is on Granules, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chaudhary. Can you also give us an entry point out there? You have bought it at 138, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chaudhary. Can you confirm that for us?
Yes, sir.
All right. Bhavin, his entry point in Granules is at 138. It's January futures currently trading at 136 now. What can you advise Mr. Chaudhary to do for Granules India?
I would advise a tight stop loss around level of 132 for the long side position. Believe that stock can probably move closer to level of 148. However, this level on the downside should not be broken. Also, one should note that Granules, continues to remain very volatile counter. So, a tight stop loss is must for the long side position.
Okay, so that's the view on Granules India. Mr. Chaudhary, thanks a lot for calling us today. Let's take some more live queries that we're getting on our social media platform. On YouTube, Stock Mantra writes to us and he wants to know, he's bought Excite January futures at a price of 217.3 and he's asking, where do you see the expiry? Can it touch the levels of 240? And currently the Excite futures of the January series are trading around the mark of 225, so pretty much in the money. The lot size is almost 4,000, so he's making good money there, Rahul. What would you suggest? What should be his target price on this position? And he's also asking, do you see it touching the mark of 240 by the end of the series?
I think if you look at Excite and Amaraja, both have shown a good amount of momentum in last few sessions, and today's sessions both Excite and Amaraja are showing a good interest. So Excite, after a long time, it has also again moved off beyond 222 levels or so, and it used to be, again there was a resistance at 220 and used to come back to lower levels. So I feel the stock can go to 230 is the first level what I'm looking at, and maybe there we can book some profit also.
All right, so that's the view on Excite. I'm going to move on to yet another query. And well, this one is on Tata Elxsi. Well, we have Amol Vagh who writes to us on YouTube, and he has bought the Tata Elxsi 1050 call at 30. And he asks whether or not he should hold. Can we take a look at what the 1050 call is doing? I'm sure it's higher than what we've seen yesterday, considering Tata Elxsi has broken above the mark of 1,000 today. So there you have it. Okay, so it's currently trading at 24. And his entry point is 30. So, well, let's bring it to the experts. Bhavin, coming back to you. What can Amol do with his position on the 1050 Tata Elxsi call? Should he hold or sell?
View is extremely positive on Tata Elxsi. I believe that stock, after a long amount of consolidation, is finally breaking above level of 1000 mark. And on upside, there is a potential for this stock to move now closer to 1100 to 1150 probably during the series. At the same time, as mentioned earlier, very positive on mid-cap IT names. So continue to remain positive on stock of Tata Elxsi as well. He can continue to hold on to the long side call that is at 1050 strike.
Okay, so continue to hold on to your position in Tata Elxsi is what Bhavin is suggesting. We've also got Nanak Hotwani writing to us on Facebook. He wants views on Aurobindo Pharma. He's not mentioned if he's already taken any position. Bhavin, I'll come back to you. From the pharma space, is there any position that can be taken on Aurobindo Pharma? Barring today or yesterday, we've seen but good move for a couple of these pharma stocks in the past 6 to 7 trading sessions.
Yes, definitely. In fact, last series we have started seeing some outperformance coming in for both the large cap players, that is Sun Pharma and Lupin. Auro Pharma should ideally witness good momentum going forward. However, it needs to break past level of 700 on the upside. We have seen good amount of OI built up over last couple of trading session. However, stock has not witnessed any major momentum so far. So if it is able to break that level of 700 where there is a high OI concentration as well, the movement can be very strong in nature. Probably a 760 770 pro in a week's time can be also possible. At the same time, on downside, stock should not break below level of 650 645. If this range is broken, one should be cautious and probably unwind the long position.
Okay, so watch out for the levels of 660. That's the view coming in from Bhavin. We'll move on and we'll take another query from YouTube. This one is on Narendra Kurani. Pardon me. He has a Tata Steel call, and that is a 770 call, and he's bought it at 9.1. This very same call, if I'm not mistaken, is there you have it. It's trading at around 8.3, and he's not making too much right now. In fact, he's losing out a little over a point. Rahul, what is your view on Tata Steel, and what would you advise Narendra to do with his position right now?
I think if you look at entire metal pack as a whole has done quite well, and today's session also most of the metal packs have been doing quite well. JSW Steel, Vedanta, Tata Steel, SAIL, Hindalco, all the pack has been doing quite well. So I think Tata still looks quite convincing in the entire metal pack. So I believe that stock can go to 765 or so. That's what my target is, and one can keep a stop loss of 720.
Okay, and Goldman Sachs report today where they've initiated a neutral rating. They have a target price of almost 780 rupees. According to their report, they've also mentioned majority of the positives have now been priced into the current price. But 733 is the mark where Tata Steel is trading. Since we're talking about Tata Steel, the other Tata Group companies, for the likes of Tata Chemicals, can we pull up that future that's trading with gains of almost 3.5% to 4% in today's session? It's also in the futures and options space, 6% build up on the open interest side, premium of almost 4 rupees. Bhavin, any view on Tata Chemical at these levels?
We are positive on stock of Tata Chemical, and in fact the move in last two trading session has been very strong. Stock went down to somewhere around level of 715 to 718, from where we have seen a very strong bounce back especially in today's trade. Also, stock was not able to break past level of 745 over last couple of trading session, and with today's uptick, I believe, and good amount of long position, I believe the stock probably can move closer towards level of 800 on the upside. So yeah, continue to remain positive, and one can continue to hold on to long position or create fresh long position in this particular counter.
All right, then let's take a look at what our experts are recommending for our audiences as well as their clients. Rahul, I'll come back to you. You have a long on Tata Power and Sun Pharma, if I'm not mistaken. Can you take us through your calls for the day?
We've seen this stock after a long consolidation, and it has moved beyond 100 levels, and with a huge open interest on the futures front, and stock has done quite well in last few sessions. So I think stock can still go higher from the current levels. The best way to play the upside is buying a call option. So I would buy 100 rupee call, which is quoting around 4.5 rupees or so. Keep a stop loss of 3 and target of 8. Second is Sun Pharma. So what I believe is that Pharma, after a long consolidation, has done quite well in few sessions. Most of the Pharma stocks from the lower levels have moved up to 4 to 5%, anything between ranging from that. In that space, I believe Sun Pharma has done quite well, and technically also it has given a good breakout up beyond 565 or so. So I would buy Sun Pharma with a stop loss of 560 and target of 600.
Okay, so those are the two long calls from Rahul. Bhavin, over to you. What are your top trading strategies for today?
Okay, first one will be Ujjivan Financial Service. I believe the stock is witnessing good amount of long built up since last two series. We have seen good amount of rollover in this particular counter, and expecting stock to move closer to level of 420. Currently stock is trading somewhere in the range of 385 to 390. Stop loss for the same is close to about 370. The second one is from Metal Pack, and continue to remain bullish on majority of name. Hindustan Zinc, which is currently quoting in the range of 312 to 314, we expect this stock to move closer to 340 as a target for this particular series, and stop loss of 290. Those are the two stocks where we are recommending a buy at this particular level.
All right, before we wrap this show, there is one query which is addressed to Rahul. So, and this one comes from Nitesh. It's on Twitter. And Rahul, Nitesh is, he wants your view on Maruti. He has one lot of Maruti futures at around 9,736. We've taken this query before, but we're going to take this again because I think he wants more views on it. So Rahul, what would you do with the Maruti Suzuki January futures? Currently trading at 9,613. So he's looking at a little bit of a loss right now. What can he do?
I think if you look at in the entire auto space, Maruti has outperformed in entire 2017 and 2018 also. I believe that stock has a support at around 9550 on a spot level. So its stop loss is very close from the current level. The stock hit 10,000 level, magical 10,000. It has come down from there. So we've seen some correction. So you should keep a stop loss of 9550 in a spot level. If it breaks, then I think you should exit the Maruti.
Okay, that's the view on Maruti. The stock's seen a bit of profit booking after touching those levels of 9,900 or thereabouts. Before we wrap up, just want to take a view on jewelry stocks which are buzzing today, from the likes of Titan, which has moved on back of some brokerage note where JP Morgan increased the target price. And we've also seen PC Jewelers doing pretty well in today's session. Bhavin, if I were to ask you to choose one stock among these two, which one looks better on the charts?
I would prefer Titan as compared to PC Jeweler, given the fact that good risk-reward ratio is currently placed for Titan Industries. And at the same time, for PC Jewelers, yeah, the trend for both the names continues to remain strong. However, PC Jeweler continues to remain a highly volatile counter, so only those who are ready to take a highly aggressive call can go for the same stock. At the same time, Titan offers a better risk-reward opportunity, so definitely will like to go for Titan.
All right, so that's the view on your jewelry stocks. Of course, I don't have to remind you guys can let your queries keep coming in, and we'll take as many as possible, as and when we can try and solve them. But we're running out of time. So with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the F&O Show. I'd like to thank both our experts, Rahul and Bhavin, who joining us and taking us through the queries and, of course, their views as well. But of course, don't forget, there's lots more lined up. So keep watching us on Bloomberg Quint, and we'll keep bringing you more.